Hey, welcome back. Today's video is going to be on my top favorite drugstore brushes. So these are essentials for me to get a full look from start to finish, from natural to ultra glam. So they're all affordable. Not all of them are directly from the drugstore, but they are all very, very, very affordable. I have a nice mix of brands and prices and everything in between. All of my brushes are synthetic. I do not use animal hair brushes, don't use natural hair brushes. I only buy cruelty-free brushes, so keep that in mind as I'm showing you each brush. Each brush is 100% synthetic. No animals were harmed in the making of any of these brushes. This crazy makeup look is something I just whipped up this morning. If you want a tutorial on this look, please let me know down below in the comment section so I can get that going right away. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you won't miss any of my uploads. And don't forget to like and comment on this video. All of the brushes I'm talking about and whatever is on my face will be listed down below, so make sure to check it out if you want any of the links. So if you want to see my top favorite drugstore brushes, then just keep on watching. So really quickly, actually, I'm just gonna mention one sponge because this sponge is amazing. Okay, this is the Japanesque Kumadori Beauty Sponge. You can find it at Ulta. It's only a couple of bucks. It is so bouncy, squishy, very, very nice to pounce on the face. Really easy to clean as well. It's not hard, it's not firm. It is just the right texture for smoothing out your foundation, your concealer, everything of the like. This will do any cream product justice. I don't see a lot of people talking about this beauty sponge. This is about half the price of the Beauty Blender, so if you're looking for an inexpensive alternative to the Beauty Blender, I really, really recommend this one. My favorite sponge from before the Ulta Beauty Sponge has been discontinued. I am crying, weeping on the inside. But this sponge has quickly replaced it. It is just as nice and just as affordable. So for foundation, my personal favorite is the Real Techniques by Sam & Nick buffing brush. It's a little bit domed, but not really. It's just, it comes to a tiny little bit of a point. There's a very slow gradient. It's not completely flat. It's not a completely flat kabuki. It has a little bit of a dome to it, but it is so nice and dense. It will blend out your foundation like this. Everything will be smooth and pressed into the skin. This is amazing for stippling your foundations, essentially, which is how I like to apply my foundations, to get them to really melt into the skin and to get the highest coverage possible. It can get a little bit streaky depending on what type of foundation you're using. If it's a thicker, heavier, creamier foundation, this will get just a tiny bit streaky, but that is where the beauty sponge comes in and you just smooth it over and it is flawless. So after foundation is usually concealer, and that is where I will whip out the sponge, and I just need a little bit of extra moisture underneath the eye. I do have very, very dry under eyes, and product can really gather there and look very cakey and heavy. So using a sponge really helps press it in, smoothen out the skin, smoothen out the product, and make it really spread a long way. I like that the sponge will kind of shear out my concealer and really just melt it into the skin. So after that, I would usually set my concealer, and this has become my little baby for that reason. This is the Wet n Wild, doesn't have the name on it. I think it is called the Precision Setting Brush. I think that is what it's called. But it is so nice and tapered to a nice point so that it really fits underneath the eye. It doesn't pick up a ton of product. It is dense with a little bit of a fluff to it, so it just stipples and presses the powder in really nicely, shears out the product so it spreads really well underneath the eye and anywhere else you want to set. This is really great for pinpoint setting. It just fits into all the crevices so nicely, right around the nose, around the upper lip, the chin. It's amazing for tiny little cracks in your face. So after that, I like to set the rest of my face because I do have oily skin, and this is where this big boy comes in. This is the Wet n Wild powder brush. This is just their large powder brush. I love the taperedness of this brush. It really gets into all of the places, like I said before with the precision setting brush. This will just really get into the corners of your nose and anywhere else really nicely, even though it is so big and so fluffy. This still has a little bit of a denseness to it, so it will still pick up a really nice amount of product. You won't feel like you're just swirling your brush in and there's nothing coming out. And this will really nicely spread and disperse the product as well. So after that, I like to contour my face usually, and this is the Wet n Wild contour brush. I really don't know what its official name is. It's just a really nice angled contour, blush, whatever you want to use it for, brush. And this is legitimately, I got this at Dollar Tree for $1. It is amazing, I just want to say. It does feel a little cheap. The last few Wet n Wild brushes I was talking about feel a lot more luxe than this. This is kind of just a white plastic $1 type of packaging, as you would. But the bristles in this are so incredibly soft. All the brushes I'm talking about are not scratchy at all. They're extremely soft. They wash well. They don't shed that much. So this brush is the perfect size to fit right into the contour of my cheek. It really just stamps the product there and really nicely blends it out as well. It's not too dense of a brush either, so that it will still be able to blend the product and simultaneously also place the product right where you want it. And this is literally $1. There's a few strands that are starting to come out for me now, but I've had this for over a year now and it has held extremely strong. I have 2 of these. One of them I like to use for blush sometimes, and the other I strictly use for contour. Next, I usually apply bronzer, and this has become my absolute #1 favorite bronzer brush. I don't use any other bronzer brush anymore, and this is the Wet n Wild Pro Blush Brush, I think it's called. This is supposed to be used for blush, but it picks up the correct amount of bronzer every single time. As you can see, it really is a nice flat brush, so it will pick up the bronzer evenly from side to side so you don't get random patches and splotchiness. It's a little bit denser than the bronzer brush I used to use, and that makes it phenomenal for blending, for buffing that bronzer into the skin, but this just makes everything look seamless. So it's just really amazing for blending. I really like to stamp products on my skin because I don't use too dense of a brush, and again, all of the brushes that I'm using on my face have just a tiniest bit of give to them so that they can blend as well as stamp product right where I want it. So this just really stamps it and really blends and buffs at the same time. Very soft and featherweight on the skin. It is just an amazing bronzer brush. So for blush, I love the e.l.f. complexion brush. It is, again, a little tapered. I seem to be having a trend with this tapered thing. It's a little bit pinched as well as being tapered at the top. This brush will pick up blush very nicely on the flatter sides, and you can use the tip to just really blend the product. It will disperse the blush very nicely on the cheek and also blend it out really nicely. It'll give a soft focus effect to your blush so it doesn't look heavy and cakey and like you just stamped pink blush right here. And now this is my favorite highlighter brush ever. This is one of the 2 that I own actually, and I have no desire to buy another highlighter brush. This is the e.l.f. highlighting brush, and it is the perfect size for me personally. I don't like too small of a highlighter brush because I feel like it grabs too much product all at once and doesn't fluff and blend it out like I want it to over the cheekbone. So this brush will pick up the correct amount. It has a little bit of a tapered shape to it. Again, I seem to be having a fetish for tapered shapes, but it will really pick up product really nicely on each side. Because it's tapered, it will really nicely blend it out as well, and it just glides over the skin so nicely. It's so soft. So this will really help distribute the highlighter across the cheekbone so you don't just get a stripe of shimmer. I know a lot of people hate that look, and so do I. So this will just really help buff and blend it into the skin while still giving you that really nice glow. I find that it's very decently dense too, so it will pick up a decent amount of highlighter. Not too much where it's overwhelming, but it will pick up just the right amount to apply to the cheek. So that wraps up my video, guys, of my favorite affordable drugstore face brushes. I did decide to split this video in two because the video ended up being too long. So if you want part 2, please let me know in the comment section below and like this video so I know that you do want part 2. All of the brushes talked about in this video will be listed down below, so check it out if you want the links to any of these brushes. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like and comment on this video, and don't forget to hit the bell notification so you won't miss any of my uploads. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks so much for watching. Bye!